Mr. Fikile and Mbalula and the Western Cape Transport MEC Daylin are expected to speak in public in the next little while on developments regarding the taxi industry in Cape Town. The violence there has been so bad that many public transport services simply could not operate. Trains already badly sabotaged as a result of that. Very difficult to get to work, to get home in Cape Town at the moment. Athi Mtongana joins us now with the latest on this. Athi, good afternoon to you. We know the violence there has been very, very bad. So many people have died. Do we know what the Transport Minister, what the Western Cape Transport MEC are likely to say this afternoon?
All the commuters in the Western Cape have been hoping to get from the Minister of Transport nationally and the MEC provincially is some kind of an agreement between the two taxi associations that have been at loggerheads. And you're right, Stephen, there have been many lives that have been lost due to the ongoing taxi violence since the beginning of this year. We've lost over 80 people, mainly commuters who've been caught in the crossfire, and of course those who are part of the two rival taxi associations, Qatar and Cadeta. They're still in meetings as we speak. I spoke to some of the representatives from both of these taxi associations, Qatar and Cadeta, and they are still saying the same thing that they've been saying over the past couple of weeks, that they are engaging with government nationally and provincially to try and come up with an amicable solution. But I must say, though, that there hasn't been any loss of lives over the weekend. Police are working with the local police, of course, the South African police, Metro Police and traffic officials have been working together with the army as well to try and monitor the situation in relation to the ongoing taxi violence. And both taxi associations were just telling me off the phone a few minutes ago that they haven't lost any members yet, but a few days ago there was another bus driver from Golden Arrow who was hit in the knee. This is following, of course, many other bus drivers who've also been caught in the crossfire. Remember that other alternative modes of public transport is buses as well as trains that the Minister, Fikile Mbalula, is trying to get going. Many trains in some of the routes around Cape Town to the Cape Town CBD have not been operational, and so he's been speaking to PRASA on the other hand to try and get those trains going, while the buses are also very limited on the other end. Commuters are really struggling to commute, particularly in the areas that have been affected, and that is the B97 route, which has been closed by the MEC. The B97 route that is between Mbekweni in Paarl as well as Bellville in Cape Town. That taxi rank is still closed, and many other routes that are connected to that B97 route have been closed officially by the MEC. This is, of course, an attempt by provincial government to try and quell the situation. And so, of course, the taxi associations are feeling the pinch now because they're not making any money due to the closure of this route, as well as the economy around these taxi ranks. I spoke to some of the vendors there. They were saying that they need these taxi associations to just get to some agreement and stop being greedy. That's what a lot of people are saying that these taxi associations are being greedy in not wanting to share this particular lucrative route. Many of the vendors there around the Bellville taxi rank saying that they're losing out on money. And so that's the sentiment around many people around the Western Cape, including the commuters, of course, who've been adversely impacted by the ongoing taxi violence, Stephen.
I mean, what we're seeing is it's been so contentious, it's been simply so violent. Unless there's a long-term solution, this is going to go on for some time. We know how difficult this can be. It's hard to see what the Transport Minister can really add to this when, in a way, the Western Cape MEC has to deal with part of it. The Transport Minister can add support, I suppose, can add resources. More than that, it's difficult to know what will happen.
It's very difficult at this stage, Stephen, because they've been locked in these meetings for weeks on end with no tangible solution, to a point where even the UDM's Bandiolo Misa had to come in and try and assist in the negotiations that have been ongoing. It seems as though whenever they go to the discussions, they go back to their representatives, these two taxi associations, and there are certain elements to the formulated agreements that they seem to not agree agree upon. But government has been very forthcoming and, availing venues and availing themselves to try and mediate. But it seems as though these taxi associations, the battles that they have are battles that are historic. It's not something new. It's something that stems from the 90s. And so it's really, really been difficult to get them to just agree to share that route between Paarl and Mbekweni. And, the imbizo that the transport minister has had, the taxi imbizo, has been trying to deal with these historic route issues, because the Mbekweni issue can be sorted out today, but next week another route issue can come up from another area. And so what the National Minister of Transport, Fikile Mbalula, has been trying to do through the imbizo that he hosted recently is to try and come up with policies and legislation and trying to formalize the sector so that these issues do not come up again, not only in the Western Cape, but in many other provinces, because we know that many South Africans, thousands of South Africans, rely on minibus taxis across the country.
Athi Mtongana live for us in Cape Town this afternoon. I do appreciate the time today. Thanks very much indeed. We do